Good morning, everyone. This is the Kubeflow SDK and ML Experience community call on 25th of February. As always, we're going to record this call and going to publish on YouTube, and we follow the CNCF code of conduct. So just before we get started, we usually give a few minutes folks to introduce themselves, just say hello. Just to remind this is the working group meeting. So usually we discuss topics around Kale, SDK, and everything around ML experience, like optimization jobs, train job, etc. But any new people here on the call who just want to say hi and quickly introduce yourself to the community?
Yeah, I will start. Yeah, hi everyone. So myself Sabari. So it's been a while me joining this call. It's really like 1 month. So I'm actively contributing to trainer and the SDK. So yeah, that's it about myself.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah, I think we have Krishna as well. Krishna, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hello guys, I'm Krishna, and I have been working on XGBoost runtime, and I've helped with the Git cliff bug. Uh,
Great, great. Thanks for joining this
Currently
calls.
working on the release automation.
Yeah. Hey everyone,
Anyone
I'm
else? Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, good.
Anik. Yeah, I'm here to I'm helping out with optimization job CRD, which we'll talk about today, hopefully. So this is the first time I'm joining this call, so hoping for a good time.
Thank you.
Uh, Hi guys, this is Shashank. So it's been a while I've joined the calls, and like I was a contributor for GSOC back in 2022. So I worked on catering. So it's nice to join back because this is how it's going.
Thanks for joining, Shashank. Nice to see you here again. Anyone else?
Yeah, hello.
Yep.
My name is Kevin.
Anyone?
I'm new here. I've been here for like 2 weeks, and I'm exploring the SDK in general, and I'm trying to contribute in it as much as possible.
Thanks, Kevin. All right. Yeah. Anyone else, or we can get started? All right, yeah. Again, thanks everyone for joining this call. Again, this is the calls where we talk mostly about SDK and also other topics around Kale. So we have like working group calls and also the community calls. So this is the best place for you, to understand what we're working on, where we get help, and also some kind of socialize the effort that you're doing across the community. So please continue joining these calls regularly. So first of all, maybe like either as you said, like to me, like you just need a few minutes for Kale. Maybe you can quickly give overview, and we can jump to the KFP topic, if you don't mind.
Yep, totally. Yeah, it's just a quick summary that the team, we have like two or three new persons in the community, so we are growing a lot and we have 16 PRs. And we are committed to release before the KubeCon. So we are wrapping up. This is the issue that we are testing everything in the road to release. The first item, your welcome new contributor. If you go to the issues, there is a bunch of issues open for KO. Also, we are waiting for the reply if you're going to have the spot for KO project in the GSOC. So
Okay.
keep posted. And I don't know if Stefano is here to comment anything else. I know Stefano was trying to join. Yeah, he was not able to join.
All right. Yeah, definitely keep us posted. Definitely like reach out to Ramesh and see how many slots we have so we can add the Kale slot there. But I think
Yeah.
like just start to mark some of the issues with the good first issues label. I think maybe it's a
Mm-hmm.
good place for folks to start contributing, right? Especially with the React and
Yeah.
UI background, right?
Absolutely.
That's great. Do you think we can make a release before KubeCon?
Yes, that's our goal.
Okay.
Yep. We're probably going to release this. There's one or two open points that we are working, but we are working towards it.
Yeah, it's great to hear. All right. Anyone else? Anything else, or we can move forward?
No, can move forward.
All right. So then I think maybe we can quickly talk about KFP then. Or do we want to start with the roadmap and release all the items, so we can talk about KFP first? Like, I know, what do you think?
we are fine with starting with the roadmap and the release. I
Okay.
think that should be quite quick
Okay.
topic.
Yeah, we can do it quickly, definitely. Like I think for the release, we kind of on track. I think the only remaining items is to finalize the Spark migration to the Python modules, and I think we can definitely cut the release. Only one kind of remaining thing, whether we want to. So we're planning to introduce several breaking changes to the train job API as part of the 2.2, and some of those breaking changes might require changes to the SDK. So I don't know how we can synchronize ourselves in this way. So we make sure we continue to release SDK at the same time we support the latest features of train job. Any thoughts like um, how do you think we should do this?
When do you plan to introduce this breaking change in the CRD?
Yeah, so some of them, I guess the only one which is affecting SDK is the template overrides API, which is still in progress because we still haven't reached agreement how API should look like. Um, but some of the breaking changes are already in upstream, like elastic policy and non-proc per node, but it doesn't affect really um, the SDK. So only this one. My concern is only about this one because this affect options actually. So
And would this require the SDK changes? Sorry if you mentioned that.
yeah, it required the changes of the options. Um, and like the
So,
how we allow to propagate options to train job, right? Additional parameters.
um, yeah. Can we release 0.4 and then once it's merged, we will quickly release 0.5?
Yes, we can do this as well. I guess my question is like, do we want to support change of to the two in the SDK, right? Because I know like Rob, for example, also working on some metrics as well, like how you can have a callback on the change of side, so we can push the metrics to the status. This also might require some SDK changes. Um, but I think, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, we can definitely release it twice in March if you want to, right?
That sounds good to
Um,
me.
I think we just need to have some help here, for folks who can help us with the breaking change on the SDK side. Okay, should be fine. Like, Antonio, Antonio, any thoughts from your sides, like on the change of like how we can accelerate this breaking change, so we release it as part of SDK?
Yeah, uh, I'm not sure we're gonna get a consensus. There are too many options, so I feel like we might need to decide and what's the best compromise. And what I guess what I'm trying to say, if we still try to find the perfect solution, I feel it might take a long time. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we need to
Yeah, I
decide.
think we should. Yeah, maybe we should finalize the solution by end of this week.
Yeah.
And if it won't be perfect, we can break it again. I understand, like the folks from Q, they don't want to have, a lot of breaking changes, but at least we should, have something right. Um,
And in the SDK, just we've put that mechanism in place where now the SDK is aware of the version of the trainer. Not sure if we
yeah,
could like
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah. So
dynamically
yeah,
dynamic.
go ahead.
You see what I mean? Like in the SDK, instead of breaking things, like the SDK would detect the version and in the few
Yeah.
places where, because I don't think that's the impact surface is large. I think that's fairly localized. So in those places, in those few places, you could say, hey, version X, then do that, and version Y do something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, this is a transition period, right, for at least one release.
Yeah, well,
Um,
yeah, have the client dynamically adapt to the
mm-hmm,
version.
mm-hmm,
That's one
mm-hmm.
option.
Yeah, I think the problem is like we don't have any way to detect option before 2.2 because we only introduced the config map in 2.2, right?
Um,
Yeah.
mm,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
having, maybe for the one release supporting both might be helpful, with the try catch exception or some workarounds because then, it's um, it's hard for us to do so. So yeah, anyway, so I guess like for us, let's finalize the API on the train job site first, and we can discuss how we can do this in the SDK.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, any other questions for 0.4 release? Can someone maybe identify issues we need to merge before 0.4? I know we have few of them pending right now, but if someone can link them here or maybe apply milestone is better. We have this way to do milestones, right? So we can see like what we need to work on, right, and review 0.4, right? All right, any other questions for the release for 0.4? Okay, so then for the roadmap, like I do want to quickly give an overview for roadmap 2026 for SDK.
Yes, I recently opened the PR to add the roadmap for 2026. Those include some integrations. We can open that. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, some integrations such as OpenTelemetry and MLflow. I think that will be the biggest items in our this year. And then same as MCP server, Abhijit has talked about that yesterday at the community call. Also, we would need to improve the documentation for the Kubeflow SDK website. There are some pending PRs already. Also, SAD has proposed a unified identification mechanism recently, so that would be great to at least proceed with those. And then some other integrations regarding other Kubeflow clients. For the trainer SDK, we have different changes for the SDK, such as dynamic LLM trainer framework and GPU support for the container backend for like local execution mode. Multi-cluster environment, do we need to remove that?
Yeah. So I think this has already been solved. I think, since we have integration with KQ, this is already implemented. So yeah, unfortunately GitHub, yeah, market is not playing, but I think it's there. But it's fine to keep this in the roadmap. So I think we keep so some of those items been solved already in January or February, right? So we can keep them. It's okay.
Cool. For the
Yeah,
optimizer client, that's the local execution mode, similar to what we already
yeah.
have in trainer. And then we also started working on the integrating KFP, and then ideally we would also integrate Feast this year. And that's the roadmap. If there are anything else we are missing, let us know, and I will add
Yeah, I think
those.
model registry, right? Or the hub SDK.
Yeah, but we have added that in the beginning of 2026, so I was like only adding the items that are new, but I can also add a Spark operator and AI hub. Or do you mean model registry client, or do you mean the
Yeah, I think we can call this hub SDK because as far as I know, like they all of the catalog APIs
yeah?
will go to the SDK directly, right? And they're gonna have another client for hub, for catalog basically. MCP catalog and other catalog they're working on, right?
Okay, I will add that.
Yeah, let's set hub. I think it's overall looks great. I need to. I think there are a couple of items on the trainer side, especially on the ROP, what ROP is working on, because we want to have this callback capability, and some of those instrumentations will go to the SDK. So instrumentation is like how you do checkpointing, right? Not checkpointing, how do you report metrics first, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sounds good. Also, we did have a survey, Kubeflow SDK survey. I think Akash will work on the blog post for that, and from that, I think we'll get some output, and the roadmap will be more or less shaped for the Kubeflow SDK with new items.
Yeah. Yeah, I think metrics and checkpointing may be important to mention here because I think it also will kind of affect the SDK. Like we kind of like need to support this as a first class citizen is in an SDK, right? Like on the callback side. But it might be part of this specialized trainer. So yeah, we can think on this. Anyway, any questions for the roadmap from other folks? Any additional topics you want to add to the 2026? Yes, I'll go ahead.
I don't see also, I don't know. Okay, sorry, my bad. I have a problem with my eye today. I didn't see the specialized trainers and I saw it when I was just about to speak. Sorry, again, I have a problem in my eye. So thank you.
On the checkpointing side, do we know if there are any planning work from your side? Like, do you want to do any work for the checkpointing, I guess, our application, the transparent one. So the transparent one, the one that I'm working with Radostin, and also I think we discussed previously about just-in-time checkpointing. So do we know like on which stage we are there?
We had some ongoing work regarding transformers just-in-time checkpointing. So that's something that we've been planning on also adding upstream, but maybe Antonio has more thoughts on that. Sorry for
Yeah, we did some implementation on our side, but we need to upstream that. But I think it'd be a valuable addition to the SDK, and it's related somewhat to the also progress tracking in a way with the callback mechanism and but yeah, I think we should add that to the roadmap. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we also need to have a feature to integrate with Hugging Face callbacks, right? I think someone needs to create this feature, right? So the one, like the Hugging Face, yeah, go ahead.
I think it's all based on the SAT proposal for specialized trainer, but the idea would be to have a transformer or a TRL built-in transformer, and that would use the callback and provide transparently the functionality for checkpointing, for just-in-time checkpointing, and for progress tracking and etc.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Yeah, because so can we create an issue because we need to track it somewhere? Because I think we also need to update the transformers callback, right? So that will be helpful.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, Abhishek, you want to say something?
Yeah, just a quick question. Like, I saw somewhere that in future roadmap we have TRL and unstaff. So the proposal which I just heard about, is it around it? Like there will be dedicated built-in trainers for the same, similar to current built-in trainer?
Yeah, so there are two proposals, right? Like one of this from SAT around specialized trainer abstractions. Sorry, not this one. Yeah, I think it's this one, right? So like how we can simplify the submission of the PyTorch functions or Hugging Face functions or JAX functions in a way that users can use this, specialized trainers. And another proposal around supporting other built-in trainers like Onslaught, Llama Factory, right? TRL. So I think this is part of the GSOC work we have open proposal for. I think at some point we need to kind of consolidate this. We didn't get a chance to talk about it right now, but I guess we still need to review the SATS proposal, right, and think how all these things will play out together, right?
Yeah, probably the SATS proposal is the cornerstone there. Ideally, everything would be built on top of it. The dynamic LLM trainers, etc., for the GSOC would ideally be built on top of it. So the sooner the better, I guess we have that in place.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So Akash, you mentioned that Abhishek has to leave soon. How much time do you have?
I mean, do you have some time? I mean, since he has to explain, he told you he has to leave for another meeting.
Yeah, I know. Like, I just want to try to understand. So, how much time do we need for KFP discussion? So we can at least see, what we should talk first.
If Michael is here.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, so but basically, right, the proposal that I left, Andre, on your issue, I think it's pretty much extensive enough for others to understand what the implementation plan is. However, I do have a couple of follow-up questions and kind of slash decisions that we would need to take to kind of decide, which of these approaches would be more suitable for the SDK. So what I was thinking really, is if maybe people could get some time to read through the proposal first, and then either on the next session or I would open a thread on the Slack channel with those follow-up questions where we could kind of hopefully decide, what would be the ideal approach. Or I can speak about the points here quickly, and that should be good as well.
So my suggestion is converting this just to the document, and so we can add the comments, like, to the similar CAPA we done for Spark operator or for model registry, right? So at least we can maybe add the comments there and together work on the API we want to implement, because I think it's already very extensive right here.
100%, yeah. And this is actually the short version of the document I've created. I was trying to kind of condense it.
Yeah. Makes sense. So like examples, like we do have the similar things for Spark or for Hub, right? So Spark client, I think for Hub we didn't do this, but for Spark we've done this. We don't need to be that long because it has a lot of information on Spark here, but just, identify which APIs we want to, initially support, right, for KFP. Makes sense. Do you want to quickly go through the items? We can maybe have spent 10 minutes to chat or 5 minutes to chat about it.
Yeah, sure. So basically, to kind of give you the overall goal of this proposal is that user experience where we would provide the outer functionality: compile, connect, upload, run, and monitor. So out of the extras available, we've got 3. We got all Kubernetes and notebooks. I think the most reasonable one is to use Kubernetes, and I think that's what we've agreed on the Slack channel as well, because it's the most lightweight. It's in the end, we're just going to pull the Kubernetes package from KFP there, so it's very lightweight on the SDK. Then as for the exposed APIs, there is basically everything to support that user flow, right? So the get held, set user namespace, and get user namespace are extras. I think they would be useful, but that's something that we would need to decide on as well. And then we get the experiments, pipeline uploads, and runs, and recurring runs. Then to support the authoring of pipelines, we need to do something with the DSL, and I think the re-exporting here is the cleanest option. As for the deferred APIs, what we're deferring is the generated server APIs, the low-level APIs that we are using them under the hood, but basically I think these are might be more useful for like power users, and they can get them directly from the KFP. Then the pipeline spec also seems like a more power user functionality to me, not necessarily something that would fit in the default SDK flow. The legacy and the authorization. So basically here I was trying to stay in line with what the model registry all does. However, the KFP seems kind of KFP SDK seems kind of more extensive. So the way I done it is just to keep in line with what the other clients have. Then the end-to-end example. I also got more extended example to kind of. I was trying to run through the flow, and make sure that it actually makes sense. Then there's mention of the notable gaps, which I can cover in those few questions that I have in the other document, and some potential upstream KFP improvements. So these are the things that I think we could ask the KFP team if it would be possible to implement in the KFP directly, rather than providing a kind of workaround solution at the SDK level,
Yep.
And then I mentioned the migration, basically the existing users of the SDK and what's going to happen when the KEP 12548 is going to land.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is great. I think my only suggestion is to, limit number of APIs initially. Let's say like we want to support maybe, creation of simple, because like one question I don't really right now have an answer for experiments, right? We talk a lot about MLflow integration. Like I know KFP team also doing some MLflow integration with the Kubeflow pipelines. So in that case, after MLflow will be there, will they still be a concept of experiment within the pipelines? So this I don't know yet, right?
Well, the experiments would be like one-to-one mapping with MLflow experiments, from what I know.
We need to figure out a way how to make those experiments pluggable right across clients, because from my from how I see this, experiments can mean different things, right? If you just work with training, your experiments might be just like your train jobs, right? At the same time, your experiments can be optimization jobs, your Spark jobs. Maybe it can be the entire pipelines. It also can be like more complex experience. So I guess like we need to find a way how those experiments can work with all those jobs or tasks. And I guess right now we don't have a clear answer, right? Because we haven't really discussed the MLflow integration yet, right? With
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be, sorry, Michael. I think that would be a bit different topic in we are planning working on the CAP for introducing MLflow in the Kubeflow ecosystem. So that would be much clearer. But yeah, I don't think that would be a blocker on the integration with KFP itself.
Yep.
Michael, if you have anything to add, sorry for interrupting.
No, that is 100% Anya. Yeah. Yeah, I need to look into how that how will that look as well. It's a good point. Yeah, thank you.
Let's definitely create a doc and comment on the PRs, and maybe initially we can limit that. So similar to model registry, right? We significantly simplified the model registry APIs. So we provide kind of MVP set of APIs that users can run to get models, register models, get artifacts, etc. But the users can always go to the model registry client upstream if they want to have detailed API. So I would imagine like the migration here is slightly like kind of similar, right? We start with sort of subset APIs that we all agree and this is the useful for users, right? And if users want to have more, functionality, they can always go to the KFP client directly, because it will be just installed, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Just I wonder, do you folks agree with the flow of the user flow that we want to provide here? I'm especially interested in the DSL, in the authoring part of the KFP. Do you like, with the model registry, we just interact with the model registry server. With KFP, it's a little bit different because you've got those different parts of the user flow that we would need to cover. Have you any comments on the flow in general, which is the proposed, build your own functions in Python, add those DSL decorators, convert it to pipeline, and then interact with the server, push it and so on?
Yeah, I think it definitely makes sense. You meant talking about how you can convert the pipeline to the pipeline spec and then run it, right? Run the pipeline. I guess we need to figure out whether a user needs to have this a way to register, because I know KFP has a lot of API that I don't know how many users actually use it, because eventually you want to have something simple, right? You decorate your functions, right? You define your pipeline, and then you have one API to trigger the run. I understand in the pipelines is different. You upload the pipeline first, right? And then you trigger the run.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't know if users really need it. Yeah. It's a good question. I don't have an answer right now. Like, I think, yeah, good.
Yeah, but that's actually an interesting point as well. Yes, because if that's the level of, I guess, simplification that we would like to do, that can be also cool. maybe like you said, writing the document and taking the conversation there would be
Yeah. And maybe describing the user flow also would be really, useful for us, right? User story one, user story two, where we describe how user interact with the pipelines, so we can understand which APIs we need to build, right?
Yeah, 100%. Good idea. I'll add that to
Yeah.
the doc as well. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, thanks a lot for considering. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go first.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I've asked Matt. He has reviewed the proposal and he's kind of happy with the proposals on the KFP improvements there, except the Kubeflow namespace changes.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Yes, Al?
Since we're going to create a wrapper around the pipelines client in the Kubeflow SDK, does it make sense to, if we're moving ahead with Kube of Kit, to just like authenticate, fetch the token, and then pass the token directly to the underlying client without having to go to pipelines and ask them for implementation or to implement it? I think it will benefit them anyway, but maybe we can also surface that into our wrapper and see what our users think. It will give this sort of like layer unified authentication before without the need to change anything. And if users like that, maybe we can go to pipelines and make it permanent in the underlying client.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think simplification of the token, that makes sense.
Cool. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions so we can move on? All right. So for the MCP side, yeah, let's. I guess Abhishek, do you want to quickly talk about it? What should be our next steps?
Yeah, definitely. So to start with, we need a repo. That's it.
Yep. I will bring this up to the KSC this Friday, so we can vote on the repo creation. I guess any preference for the name Kubeflow/MCP or Kubeflow Server MCP? What do you think? How we should call it?
We are trying to keep it parallel to SDK, so the naming convention is like Kubeflow SDK, so we can keep it like Kubeflow MCP. What do you think?
Or MCP server. Yeah, I was kind of like looking what others are doing. Like I noticed that others put at least MCP in the naming, but sometimes they put MCP server, etc. So maybe the good thing to explore what others are doing. I know that they have this MCP registry. So not MCP registry. Sorry, like the 1 second. This
Actually, I
one.
explored many options. So we have Peace MCP, Model Catalog, Registry Catalog MCP, and the naming
Yep.
convention I like the most is the HF MCP, which denotes the
Mhm.
Hugging Face MCP. So I was planning it like KF MCP. What do you think?
So what do you think? Like, what will be the final name?
The name I liked is like KF MCP, which
Oh, okay.
kind of similar like HF MCP, Hugging Face MCP.
Okay. So like you mean like this, right?
Yeah.
Can we have like full names? I mean, that would be better. I mean, I think the full Kubeflow dash MCP.
Yeah, let's definitely take a look at what also like how others are naming their servers, because this has very extensively, sorry, this one, not this one. This has very extensively to follow the servers. We can see what is the best name and just propose something. It's fine. And it's fine for us to also rename in the future, so that's okay. And I think we also have here the Kubeflow Apache Spark, the Spark History Server MCP, this one. And this one we named as MCP/Apache Spark History Server. And this is another MCP server. Okay.
One more, like I was curious about the discussion we had just now. So I got to know about the proposal which SAR is currently working on and the model checkpointing and progression tracking, which are kind of revolving around the uh, Hugging Face callback methodology. So I was curious about, as we are already have these things aligned for future release of SDK. And for the current MCP proposal, I'm just thinking about version 0.2.1. So should it be one-to-one relation, like SDK release should be directly linked with MCP releases, or how are we planning it? Like, it will be ideal, right?
I don't think we kind of have this hard requirement, right? So, like MCP changes, I mean, it really depends what kind of tools we will support initially, right? But like we don't have this, strong relationship with version of SDK and version of MCP server, right?
Yeah.
So we can release this async completely. Um, but even once more features come into the SDK, we can also provide a set of tools in the server. So, so we will be compatible, right? Um,
Thanks.
Yeah, I think I also have. I mean, I reviewed this PR yesterday. I have like a few questions overall, but any other questions from other folks, like on the MCP server implementation? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so just thinking about out loud about packaging. So MCP server would import and wrap the Kubeflow SDK, but then do we want to include MCP server package as part of the Kubeflow SDK? No, why?
No, we want to have it separate Python package, right? Um, I know that Feast. I guess Francisco and Feast they wrap it together. Uh, yeah, but
So
having
why
the
do we
separate, yeah,
want
yeah, good,
why do
good.
we want separate releases? I'm still it's not clear to me why it shouldn't be part of the Kubeflow SDK at all.
Uh, I'm thinking it like one directional relation so that Kubeflow MCP will have dependency on SDK, but SDK shouldn't have any dependency on MCP. So
Yeah.
whichever, yeah.
And also, I would imagine it could be some system components as well, right? Like the policy management part, which is might be not part of the SDK. So, like, I
Yeah.
mean, like, if we really think about, enterprise deployment, we might need to, also have some sort of components or like, lifecycle management, how we're going to deploy this, etc., right? Which might require for us some additional control plane pieces we maintain, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. Sad, go ahead.
So my point of view, I think, aligns with what Anya said a little bit. I think there is a very strong relationship, almost coupling between the MCP server and the SDK. The MCP relies 100% on the SDK to do stuff. MCP could be implemented in a couple of different ways. One way could be like either going and using the SDK to implement or to create training jobs, or they could go directly and just like create a CRD. And we don't want the MCP server to go and create CRD because that there will be misalignment and different user experience from the between the SDK and the MCP server. So if we offer the MCP as a separate package or an optional package of the Keyflow SDK server, of the Keyflow SDK, I think it could make sense. Like it would be just available at the root, and the MCP server could rely on maybe the core Keyflow SDK to be installed. I don't know. I have a feeling like we're replicating what we're doing with the Keyflow SDK on the MCP server, and then it will be like another set of like stuff we need to do. And also, if we're working on something in development, then that won't be available in the MCP unless the SDK is tagged and released. Unless we kind of base everything on the main branch of the SDK, and then with the tag and release, it will be like a little bit, require some sort of like management for the releases and so on, and dependency between the SDK and MCP. Always MCP will be one release behind or a little bit behind the SDK. Is that what we're looking to do,
Yeah,
or
so but I think it really depends on what kind of set of skills we expose via Qflow MCP, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's say SDK don't provide to us all the capabilities, right? Like maybe we should interact with other APIs. Like how are we going to deal with it? Um,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah, like what do you mean by different APIs, like creating runtimes or?
Yeah, even like for example, like interacting with Kubernetes APIs for observability.
Okay.
Like we can certainly have this inside SDK, right, in the MCP sub package because we already have Kubernetes access, but maybe we don't. Yeah, I don't know. Um,
No,
I just feel like yeah, good.
go ahead. I think it is the same. We have Kubernetes access either ways in the SDK and the MCP server, and most importantly, I think the policies will enforce the user permissions to make sure like users only get access to what they should. But anyways, I just like saw like a sort of type coupling, and I was thinking that could be part of that uh, since it is on the same. And the user will be able. Another question, like, will the user be able to run the MCP server on the server side or a client side? Because that's also another question.
Yeah, I
Like,
think I have this question here in terms of the client and the server side. Again, like, and I think we also can, like go with the skills model, the one that I, ask here. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
Abhishek, go first. Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
Um, okay, so the first question, so if I understood correctly, why it shouldn't be a sub package of SDK. So MCP, whenever we see at MCP, the first use case we talk about is what if user can just say fine tune this model, this data set, this configuration, and it will take care of it. So there are multiple layers. For example, first one is the resource exploration, then the estimation layer, which doesn't rely on SDK at all. So for those cases, we delegate those specific use cases to other MCPs. For example, we have HF MCP, Hugging Face MCP, to validate the dataset and model, and also for the estimation of resources required to process certain workload. For example, I'm giving some billion parameters of model, and I'm giving this much configuration. So what will be the optimal estimate of resources required to process that workload? So that estimation for those cases, there will be multi-MCP involvement, and the Kubernetes level operations will be delegated to Kubernetes MCP. So the scope, we are isolating the scope of MCP dedicated for Kubeflow CRDs, and whichever scope which is outside of Kubeflow MCP will be delegated to other MCPs to maintain the cross MCP compatibility, that we are not replicating, or we are not uh, copying, or we are not duplicating the work which can be delegated to other MCPs. So if we are planning to include that it as a sub-package in SDK, so all those dependencies will be there. And I'm planning to investigate more on the tool called Melia from IBM, and also the agency. So those will be additional dependencies which I don't want to get included as part of SDK's root. But you can correct me here.
yeah, really quickly on this, I think if we treat the MCP server as an extra package to the SDK, like the SDK installation would still like be separate and clean. But it's not my decision. I'm just raising a point, and if we're happy to move to a separate package, a separate repo, I don't mind either. But that was my own thinking. It's closely tied to the SDK. And we can make changes easily. So if a new change introduced to the SDK, it will be automatically added to the MCP and released as maybe closely together as well. But anyways, Anya, I see your hand raised, so please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanna focus on data scientists' perspective because that's the personas we mostly target from the Kubeflow SDK perspective. As a data scientist, I would like to just install Kubeflow and get access to the all clients as well as MCP. I don't want to go to another sub package or package, install it and get the access. I think there's some confusion in there. for data scientists, and that will be much user-friendly if we get MCP as an extra, as Saad mentioned, that I install Kubeflow MCP and that's it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, so I guess like we need to really understand like what is the purpose of this MCP. Because again, I also mentioned the thing about skills, and right now we don't really need to have MCP if the data scientists really want to get benefits from natural language processing for all the LLMs. If we do have skills where explain how to talk to multiple APIs, like Kubeflow SDK APIs, we don't really need to have MCP at all, right? Like we can just register skill within Claude or like Codex, whatever agent you're using, and the agent will be able to interact with our Kubeflow SDK APIs using natural language. My thinking that MCP here will require also additional control plane components that Abhishek was talking about, right? So agency for agent identity, also like deployment using some CRD, not we maintain, but maybe I know there are other projects like, I don't know, Agents in Box or like, KMCP, or I think the new projects also coming in from CGAPS we can think about. So there'll be more components we need to make sure this MCP server can be deployed in production for multiple agentic use cases. Um, yeah. So anyway, Antonio, you have hands up.
Quickly on Anya's point, to look at the problem from the data scientist standpoint. So I'm not sure the flow is the same as the Kubeflow SDK. When you activate an MCP server, you're not doing pip install, or
Yeah.
you're from, I don't know, whatever is your agent, and then they have some plugin mechanism, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different. So that from that angle, we might need to look at it more deeply, if that's the question. Now the point that Sad mentioned on the life cycle, yeah, it's true that having all in a single repo is obviously more convenient, but as you're saying as well, like there are many other parts than just like the coupling to the SDK. And on the skills, yeah, I agree with you. It's not clear exactly what is it, the difference between skills and MCP.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, the difference is clear, but which one is best for consuming the SDK or for Kubeflow? That is not 100%
Yeah,
clear.
yeah. Because I think our recipe points how we can, like limit number of MCP tools to the agent, right? I think I mentioned here, yeah, about the separation, right, by sub-agents, but yeah.
Yeah, no, clearly it seems like skills are simpler, and they alleviate some of the limitation of MCP, like filling the context and
Yep, that's right.
So yeah, it's yeah, we would ideally need, but it's good to explore. I think that it has to be an exploratory. We have to start with something, and probably we'll iterate. But I don't think we can have all the answer right now. And this is by doing that we learn and iterate. And just the last point, that because I don't know if Abhijit you've answered the sad question on the deployment model, but in the proposal, Abhijit has already worked on in the POC with different deployment models. So you can use MCP locally. It's gonna start the server locally on your machine, or it can be deployed on Kubernetes OpenShift, and then it's a remote MCP server, and then it can be aggregated in MCP API gateway, and etc. So I think I did an awesome job at covering all the option when it comes to deployment model.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think, like the next steps, let's definitely continue to review this. I think there will be definitely more, because I think, again, right now, community kind of, overall AI community, they try to use multiple things. I don't think there is a one clear answer what is the right tool for agents, but the goal is to make scientists more productive, right? And that will be multiple things we can, think of, where it is exploiting skills, or build a Claude plugin, or build an MCP server. all this will make them more productive, but speaking from the personal perspective, definitely that's something we need to think deeply more, right? Like, what is the value for scientists to use Claude with our skills or MCP server to do XYZ? So let's definitely think on this more, and maybe we can continue discussion on the issue here for the open questions, right? Sorry, any other questions?
Um, yes,
Yeah,
sorry,
Michael.
I
Yeah.
I have a question about the skills. Have we considered creating maybe like a SDK marketplace with set of skills available?
Yep. So one of the good examples I share here, like you can basically have a Claude plugin, which users can just install, and the Claude plugin can have sub-agents, also skills, and I think MCP servers. I'm not sure about MCP servers, but skills and sub-agents definitely. And then your Claude can directly interact with this plugin. So we can have not like a set of skills we offer as part of SDK, for example, or like maybe have this as a set of plugin we expose to other users, so you can take it and then they can benefit from what agents can do. Um, yeah, does that answer your question, Michael? Or
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, that's
okay,
exactly what I had in mind. If we could
okay, okay,
maybe come up with a list of skills that we know
yeah,
that could be installable as plugins, and yeah.
yep, yes,
So I hope nobody hates me for this, but should we repurpose this the proposal a little bit to be instead of just being an MCP server, maybe we can create a new repo for coding agents or AI agentic Kubeflow,
yeah. Kubeflow
and by
intelligence, yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, just the main idea is to kind of support skills, MCP,
yep,
plugins, whatever it makes. So maybe it's all can be covered under a single repo that serves the purpose of like, okay, everything
yep.
agentic for Kubeflow or Kubeflow intelligence, whatever you call it, it can survive or can live in this repo. And then they can add dependency on the SDK, but it will be like individual or different bits and pieces to serve whatever is working right now in the market.
Yeah, I mean, look at everything on this. And we can create multiple repos because again, like MCP servers are useful for other consumers, right? If they see Kubeflow MCP server, they have their own agents orchestration run, and then maybe they want to just plug in that they have their own way to do agentic orchestration. But we should have you know whether it should be one repo, multiple repos. We can talk on this. I think it's a good idea. Um,
Cool. Thank you.
All right, I know we don't have a lot of time, but I just want to spend a little bit of time on this optimization job CRD. I know, like, do we have? So I see actually on the call.
Uh,
Um,
hey, Andy.
yeah, yeah. Oh, Aniki, they're also here, right?
Yeah.
So just like a rough idea, I guess like we try to refactor experiment CRD to something new. So to provide Kubernetes native CRD to do hyperparameter tuning. I know you have a pending PR, right, for this?
Right, it's just a bare bones that basically builds the Go API structs that we need for our controller.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I think we need to discuss what methods and what features we want for the controller.
Yeah. Do we
Yeah,
want?
I think
Yeah. Go ahead, Ash.
yeah, thanks Aniket for the PR. So I think it would be good if we can start a cap to outline what all the features we want to support with the optimization job, and also what can be taken from the existing experiment CRD. And so this would involve like how we can integrate deeply with train job, and what are the other features which within the train job which we can utilize, like the train job tracking mechanism that we are introducing, and also that's missing, like the common initializing way that's missing today. So I think if we can have a cap, we can outline the features, and um, we can finalize on what to implement. But I think this is a good start.
Yes, yes. We should have a doc where we identify the features we want to support and how we want to implement them, right? So maybe we should. So actually, or Aniki, do we want to start with the Google Doc first? How do we want to do this and to collaborate together
So
on the
Yeah,
features? Hmm.
Yeah, Aniket, if you can start, we can collaborate.
Right.
Yeah, I just feel like Google Doc, yeah, it's easier to start, right? Because we can add the comments, from both sides.
Correct.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I left few comments on the PR. So please
Mhm.
take a look as well.
Certainly, there is a hyperparameter optimization kept already, but I think that's for SDK, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
here we
think,
want to
yeah,
introduce
go
a
ahead, sorry.
control. Go ahead.
I just want to say more important question where they should live, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
should it be part of trainer, should be part of, Katy project, should be rename the Katy project to optimizer. So those questions I don't have an answers right now.
Yeah. That's true.
Right.
Yeah, but first let's start a talk. At least then we can
Yep.
figure out a way to.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool.
Let's at least identify some of the features we want to support. Early stopping, PB like population-based training, schedulers, like the one that Rob is working on for metrics, because right now we don't need metrics collector. After this will be available. So like to identify a list of features we need, and then we can, build an API, like and take this as a, as a first inspiration, right? To move forward. Any like thoughts from other folks here? I know we were talking about like, just shall optimization job be part of the trainer project, or you still think this should be separate and we should have a deep integrations with trainer? Like what others think? Um, because I know previously we talked a little bit with you, Antonian, right? You've been thinking about, checking the hyperparameter optimization as well, right? And some other orchestration layers.
Yeah. Mm, sorry, I haven't followed. What is your question exactly, Andre?
Yeah, I think my question was like, do we see this as a separate project, or do we see this merged together under trainer umbrella and released together? Yeah.
You mean Katib or the work of
Yeah.
renaming?
Or any other name we're gonna choose it right for it.
Okay. No. In my maybe I haven't I have the full context, but I thought that maybe we could consider renaming Katib to something like optimizer. I think that yeah, I don't know. In my opinion, like it has to be discussed, but yeah, that'd be good to rename the project, but so not folding into the trainer. I think it feels natural to have it separate to me.
Okay.
But renaming it would be good. Like I've you've discussed that in the past. No, renaming it to optimizer or to a more
Yep.
like.
I kind of like,
I
more
think
interesting, like, yeah. Go for it.
yeah, I think probably we should definitely discuss some. I think I feel that as we are tightly integrating with trainer for optimization job, and specifically we're targeting for fine-tuning use cases, it's probably might be better to have it under trainer, just to not have it separate as a separate project itself. But I think like we can discuss further on the
Yeah, I think this
pillars.
is our kind of main question, right? I mean, there are pros and cons for both of this, right? We can have this as the sub package under trainer, right? Under trainer repository, and keep those optimization job directly connected to the train job, or we can keep this separate, right? Because I mean, there will be also other things like documentation website, right? Should we have a one website for train job and optimization job, right? Or we should be separate. I think we should kind of like, yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
quickly, because maybe I failed to see what would be the pros to merge
Together?
Yeah, together.
I think the only it's kind of easier for us to maintain, right? In a single repo, have a one releases, right?
Okay.
And yeah.
So kind of a monorepo kind of logic, I guess. Okay. But that's only that. I mean, it's only life cycle.
I mean, logically, it's separated, right, from the machine learning perspective, right? You
Yeah,
can do
yeah,
optimization
so
for,
exactly.
yeah.
which is the case. For example, on our side, we are using trainer and not optimizer or not Katib at the moment. So it but even technically, it feels like it's something on top of trainer more than part of trainer. No, but I'm curious. Like maybe there are like really pros that you see that I don't have as context. But if that's only the release or the life cycle, I'd be tempted to say, that's the kind of like not good reason to do it, maybe, or not enough good reason
Makes
to do
sense.
it.
Makes sense. Yep. I think probably we can have list both these approaches in the cap, and we can discuss there probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And also consolidation can come later, right? Once we have the API, so we can decide what we're going to do with this project, right?
Absolutely.
I just like more asking from from your team perspective. Do you see any blockers, like if you decide to productionize, optimization job? Do you see any blockers from your team? So those things are separate, or you think it should be fine? Like,
No, actually, it'd be better for us that it be separate, I think. As you, I think you've said, Andre, like that conceptually, or like in the way generally, I mean, how could I say, like in the AI ML space, it's something on top of.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right. I mean, like, because trainer right now, like, it's kind of grabbing the scope of HPC jobs. I guess, like, there are all the other things we can do, with batch inference, etc. But
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, we need to think on this more. But anyway, I think we can iterate on this after. So, any last questions? I know we're like 6 minutes over time. Sorry, we didn't get a chance to talk about the survey. Like, Akash, I hope you will help us to work on this. We're still waiting on the doc, right, from you on
Yeah,
the like the.
All
Right.
Probably as a like feature addition, and I think we can add a few of the roadmap we have for 0.4.
Yep, definitely.
I'll get
Sounds
it up.
good. Any other last questions, comments? All right, thanks everyone for your time. Really exciting discussion. So looking forward to the release. Definitely keep us posted for any updates, and hopefully we can make this before KubeCon. So we have like 2 more weeks, so to finalize all the releases and the work. Definitely like we need some help here. All right, thanks everyone. See you soon.
Thank you.